Hi everybody, it's Tato yet again with my first official video. Yesterday's video was just an introductory video, so today is where we start with the real stuff. Yeah, so my first video I have decided to talk about one of the most sensitive topics I can talk about, one that is very close to my heart, one that was very traumatic, and I never thought in a million years that I will actually be able to talk about, one that I am very proud and happy that I was able to actually heal from. And I hope that through my healing and my experiences, I'm able to transfer that energy to somebody else to actually find healing through it. I'm going to be talking about my late son, Rati. I gave birth to my baby boy on the 14th of July 2011, and he passed away on the 28th of November 2011. So he was only 4 months old. And he passed away due to nanny accidents. So I'm going to try to be as gruesome as I possibly can. I'm going to try not to filter anything because I feel like that is the only way whereby we'll be able to find healing together. Because in me talking about it more, actually, I'm also able to heal completely. And in me also being able to give you guys the details, the ins and then the outs, you guys will also be able to find healing through this. You know, um, most of the people that are actually going through the most are the people that are always just so talkative, that are always just so bubbly, that you wouldn't even think that they're going through the most. Um, but yeah, we go through the most because I'm also a very talkative, loud, crazy person. Yeah, but even though I can talk about it today, but there are days where I just break down and cry. And it is okay to have those days. And it is okay and actually very good to actually allow yourself to feel whatever it is that you're feeling at that present moment and not to combat your feelings. And, when you feel like crying and you just go like, no, why am I crying? No. If you feel like crying, cry. If you feel like screaming, scream. That is the only way that you'll be able to find healing through actually dealing with your feelings. So I remember it was on the 28th of November. I was home with my son, and that day actually was actually the first day me and my then boyfriend actually drove with our baby to town. We never used to do that. It was literally the first day. Little did we know that it was the first and the last day. I remember when he took us home, and then I put him to sleep because me and him had to travel back to Pretoria because we had a temp job where we were working as Kaiser Chiefs promoters for their live cover. So we had to drive back to Pretoria to actually go and work. I put him to bed. I put him inside his coat. I bid him goodbye. And yeah, we left. Shortly after we left, I think 30 minutes, because my older brother, Tuto, called me when we were passing Lechtenberg. He was just hysterical on the phone. I couldn't even make out what he's trying to say, but all I could hear was Toriso, my little brother, got hit by a car and that I should climb off wherever I am. And then he hung up. I'm confused. I tell my then boyfriend and I'm just crying and, but I don't know what to do. I call my mom, she's not picking up my calls. I call my dad, he's not picking up my calls. I'm like, okay, what's going on? Okay, and then he calls me again and he's like, now he's calling a bit calm and he's just like, ge feta ko kostere o fologe ko garageng e ko go tlatla go le tsaya. And he hangs up and I'm crying because I'm puzzled as to what is going on. I'm crying hysterically. I'm crying, you know. And then we climb off, go to the garage, and then yeah, and then we go the stairs, yeah, go thing. We wait for whichever car that is coming to pick us up. I was not even hungry. I didn't even want anything. I just remember we bought food, go stairs, but I remember I didn't eat anything from that food. Because I'm just panicking and wondering what the hell is going on. Okay, sharp. The car that is supposedly coming to pick us up arrives. And it's my then boyfriend's father and his uncle. So I'm just confused and I'm wondering, If my little brother got hit by a car, why is his family coming to pick us up? But I don't say anything. I'm just there quiet. And they're trying to make small talk on the way, and I'm just not having it because I just want to see myself home, because I'm wondering what is going on. We get to Vera Park. So Rivera Park is the area where I stay in Mafikeng. Ragana ka Rivera Park, and when we get, because where I stay, it's like the main street. When we get Kirstenbosch, my house is far down the street. But when we get Kirstenbosch, already you could see cars. I start crying hysterically because I'm like, definitely there's death in the family. Why are there so many cars if it's just Kolo and he's in hospital? I start crying already. I start crying. I remember I was wearing such a short dress. When we got home, my dad, when he saw me, he broke down and he came to pick me up. And when he saw what I was wearing, he immediately covered me up and took me to the house. It was already so full in the yard, and I was just crying so bad. And then we get to my dad. Yeah, he puts me in my bedroom, and when I get to my bedroom, all my aunts are there, and I'm talking about aunts from I'm originally from Zirasti Luhuruti. And all my aunts from Luhuruti, they are there, they're wearing their blankets, and immediately I could see that there's definitely death in the family, and I'm crying there, and I see my mom, she's laying there on my bed, helpless as ever. You could see that she has no life in her, like it's just her vessel there. And I'm like, Mama, what's going on? And then she kept quiet, and I'm like, where's Tori? So she's like, Tori, so is here. I'm like, call him if he's here. And then she calls Toriso, and I see Toriso, and I know that Tuto is okay because he's the one that called me. Toriso, I just saw him now. He's okay. My mom is okay. Tuto is okay. I mean, my dad is okay. And I'm like, okay. The only person I'm not seeing here is my son. I'm like, okay, what did okay? And immediately when I asked that question, the entire room went cold. It went cold. It was somber in there. And I remember hearing mumbles after I asked that question, like, mm-mm-mm-mm. And I asked that question again, Mama, oratile okay? And I start looking around the room. I don't see his coat. I don't see his prem. I don't see anything of his in the room. I'm like, where is oratile? And then my mom was like, there was an accident. And even when she's explaining to me, you could see that she's just so hopeless and she's lifeless. She's like, Tata, there was an accident. Oratile o tlhokafetse. And I screamed and I'm like, no, 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 no. No, he can't be dead because when I left here, I put him in his coat. So I know he's okay. He was not sick, none whatsoever. And she takes out a sheet, and then the sheet was full of blood. And she's like, here is the sheet that he was covered in before what pathology ba motsaya. Okay. I'm like, no, it can't be. I'm like, it can't be. And she's explaining the story, which I'll actually get into it with you guys. She's like, so I left my son, Alamukoto. And when I left him, Alamukoto, my helper, I remember when I left, she was busy ka laundry. And when I left, I remember I bid him goodbye. Little did I know that was actually my goodbye to him, but I bid him goodbye. So my helper says that after I left, then she went to take him from his coat and put him mopreming so that she can put him to the laundry where she was washing the clothes so that when he wakes up, she'll be able to hear him. The only mistake that she supposedly done was that she forgot to buckle him up. So he was sleeping, and then she went outside to actually go hang the laundry. Little did she know that the baby was going to wake up. And she says when she got in the house, in the laundry room, she found him strangled by this thing in Namo, the pram where you hang your toys, where you hang the baby's toys. So she says she found him like that. But still, I was not I was not believing the story that I'm being told that my son is no more. I'm like, no, that's impossible, and I want to see him. But before I told them that I want to see him, I'm like, I want my boyfriend. I tell them that I want my boyfriend. Um, and then he comes into the room. Immediately when I saw him, I just broke down and cried more. And he also cried. He held on to me like, yo, like we couldn't believe, okay, this is our reality right now. Our son is no more. As young as we were, I was 20, he was 19. Okay, and I was insisting that I want to see him. I don't believe this. I want to see him, and maybe if I see him, maybe if I touch him, he'll be able to wake up. And I remember mom just saying, no, no, no. And my dad was just like, you know what? Just allow them to just find healing the way they see fit. And then we drove to the mortuary. And I remember I was so strong when we got there, like, these people are crazy. My son can't be dead. No, no. And I remember when we got to the mortuary, they were like, okay, wait, we're going to prepare him. And I remember when they opened the door and I saw a tray there and I saw his small, lifeless body on the tray. He was already iced. His eyes were partially open. Like I remember that image like it was yesterday, and I remember breaking down and crying because I could not believe what I was seeing. But I could see that there is no life anymore in the soul. And I could not believe that 6 months ago this baby was safe in my belly. And now I'm looking at him. He's lying lifeless there on that tray. I was crying hysterically. I remember I collapsed. And they took me to the hospital, and I was given these other strong pills that I really wish were not given to me because I feel like they actually prolonged my healing process. Because honestly speaking, I was not myself when I drank those pills. I was always medicated. I don't remember anything. Like, I remember bits and pieces of the funeral due to those pills. I remember, what I remember is, okay, I think he passed away on a Sunday, and we buried him on a Tuesday or on a Wednesday. So I remember the Monday, Tuesday, people coming to my room, but I remember like I would see, okay, this is whoever, and then whoever would talk to me, and I would doze off. And I would wake up and I would ask, hey, where is whoever? And they say, no, whoever Kyle Azamel. So you can imagine that I was actually not myself. You know, I remember the day when they brought his body at the day of the funeral. And they opened the coffin, his white, small coffin. And the first thing I saw when they opened the coffin was the fact that my baby had a bruise on his chin, on his cheek. And now questions were rising. This helper said the baby got strangled by Ntoya Prem. So the logical thing is he's supposed to have like a line on his neck. I remember pulling down his clothes and I saw no mark. And the mark was on his cheek. That was number one. What I remember. I don't remember the service at all. I don't remember the church service at all of the funeral. What I also remember, I remember when we were at the cemetery. I remember when his coffin was lowered. So my stepsister, when she came to actually, when my baby was a month old, she came to see the baby and she brought me present. And there was this other elephant toy that she bought that would like talk. I don't know what happened, but when the coffin was lowered, then that toy started talking and it went like, bye bye, yo. And it kept saying bye bye, bye bye, like a lot of times. And I remember just seeing black and I collapsed. That's what I remember from the cemetery. And I remember when I got home, and that was it. Like, literally, I can't tell you anything about that funeral of my child because of those pills. And after then, my mom wanted to get my helper arrested, but I was like, it's pointless, or I didn't want to come back. So I was just like, you know what? If Even if she's lying, because I knew that she was lying, because I mean, like, if he was strangled by Ntoya Prime, he would have had a mark on her neck, but instead he had a mark on his cheek. But I'm like, you know what? It's okay. This won't bring back my child. I don't want this lady to get arrested. That's my fail. And then she left. Mara she left Abuile. I remember she was working with her before I actually became pregnant. So she was obviously getting a certain amount of money. And then when I fell pregnant and I was close to giving birth, then my mom was like, okay, I'm gonna increase your salary by 1,000 rand or 1,500, I think, because you're gonna be having an extra duty. Now, after the death of Rati, my mom was just like, we're going to take your salary back to what it was before because you're not doing this extra duty anymore. And her response was, I knew it. After the child passes away, you're going to say that. And my mom was like, how did you know that the child was going to pass away? And then she kept quiet. And then my mom was like, you know what? Can you kindly just pack your bags and leave my house? And that is how she left. And post his death, or his funeral, I was drinking every day, blackout every day. That is how I found healing. I was drinking literally every day. I was a size 28, and in a month, I was already a size 34. Drinking every day, eating all the wrong foods. Like, I just wanted to just forget life. I just wanted to forget that I once had a baby. I just wanted to forget everything. And I was just asking myself, why kids here? Like, what's the point of life? Like, why? And ga gote modimo o tla go fa matla when you least expect it, and o tla go fa matla ka nako e right. January, I remember I just woke up. Modimo a mphile matla gore girl, you need to start living again. You have a future. You can have more kids. Trust me. I remember waking up and asking my mom, Mama, to go and apply, go Northwest University. I want to go to school. And I got admitted to go to Northwest University. And then I reduced my drinking. I went to school. Like, my life started. And even though it started, but obviously I was still hurting very much so. I would still drink, but not as much as I used to, but I would still drink. I was very far and detached from God, to be honest with you. I never used to go to church. I never used to pray. Like, I was just so detached from everything. But I remember my third year, I drew closer to God. I used to meditate. I attended all my lessons at school. Like, I was just that girl who had her life in order. And it was for the very first time that year, very first time in my life, and I burst in tears. I felt like God is in that room. God is actually there listening to me as I'm talking. And it was very painful. Until this day, I'm still healing from this traumatic experience. But I'm dealing with it, and I'm not drinking like I used to to find healing, Because I just used to just date every Tom, Dick, and Harry because I just wanted closure somehow. But God, and also when you're going through the most, you also just try to find healing through everything. I remember getting a twasa because I just felt like, you know what, maybe hanka twasa. Okay, I went and they said I have a calling, and okay, I used to dream about such things, and but right now I just don't believe in those things, unfortunately. And I'm not saying I'm blocking anybody who does. Um, you know, it was by the grace of God that today I'm actually able to talk about this traumatic experience. I have healed from this ordeal that I went through, but I cannot say that I'm completely healed. It is a process, and I'm not even rushing myself to actually be on 100%. It is a journey, and it's something that I will always live with, and I don't think that I will ever actually be able to actually say, hey, I am 100% about this. No, because that is my baby, you know. And but I, you know, honestly speaking, through Lefoko la Modimo, I was able to just like get it one step at a time, one step at a time. And today here I'm being able to talk about it, you know. And the weirdest thing is, okay, I've got another baby, a baby boy also. His name is Waratwa Lebone Raphevo. When I went to give birth to Waratwa, I met my then helper who actually caused the accident to my firstborn. And when I saw her, you could see that she wasn't even sure if I was going to talk to her. But God ampamata, talk to her, greet her, of which I did. I was like, hello, Uskanana. She was like, hello. She's like, hey, Banna. Oh, because she was working for the maternity ward and she was a cleaner that side. I'm like, yes. She was like, what did you give birth to? I'm like, a baby boy. And then she was like, congratulations, look at God. He blessed you yet again with a baby boy. And I'm like, thank you. So also, if maybe what her story was, we really so it was true. Maybe this was also just God saying, find complete healing through that day. I mean, like, what are the odds that I would see her again after giving birth to my new baby, and I see the same helper who caused the accident of my first son, you know? And I was so happy after I met her because I was not angry at all. Like, I'm like, okay, fine, I'm not angry at her. I remember I told my mom, like, hey, the helper, and my mom till this day she's finding difficulty in forgiving her. My mom started getting sick after the death of my son. She then got diagnosed with lupus. Like, it was just one thing after another, one thing after another, you know. So yeah, I'm just happy that I'm able to actually talk about this, and I hope in me talking about it, it will help somebody to actually find healing through it. I mean, here I am, Gimugele, you know, I can talk about it. I can smile, give my big beautiful smile, you know, and even though it's still hurting and I'm in pain, but I can talk about it, and I can talk about it and be very hopeful that my experience and me talking about all of this is going to help you find healing, you know. So yeah, guys, if you guys have any questions, if you guys want to talk to me, if you guys feel like maybe you want to connect with the girl and hopefully maybe kabua like privately, and that maybe that will also aid you in order to heal quicker, I'm here. Just follow me on Instagram, follow me on Facebook. I'm always here to actually lend a helping hand. Vela Vela, this is the main purpose of this channel. So yeah, I hope that this reaches the masses. I hope that you guys find healing through this. I hope that you guys share this so that it reaches more people. Because I mean, like, you might be seeing this video and you're not going through that, or you have never been through that. But if you share it, a person on your timeline might see it and it might help them find healing. So, motho ke motho ka batho. Let us work together. Let us heal together. And yeah, um, I I also hope that